Hello my citizens of the world, I'm Yes or No, and today I'm giving you an update on how breaking my screen addiction is going. That's right, my little social media detox. So for those of you who don't know, at the start of this year, I decided I was going to try and break my screen addiction. And I told everyone I was gonna start that by deleting Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram off my phone. So here's how that went. Terribly. No. Okay, so the interesting thing is that when you're like clicking on these apps, it's like just like your mind's releasing dopamine, right? It's like click, 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 dope, dope, dope. And not having anything to replace that with, the first week of trying this challenge of deleting the apps, I just shifted all my focus from the social media sites to then like spending all my time on Chrome, right? I would go into the Google search bar and I would just type in stuff about relationships and read these little like dumb pop articles about like, he does this because blah, 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 and he does this because blah, blah, blah. And it was like candy for my mind, right? It felt really good, but it was giving it like one big cavity. But I wasn't quite willing to give up Chrome quite yet, and so I'm like, okay, maybe I try like a physical approach to solving this problem, right? So I thought, you know, most of my problems occur in the morning when I wake up because my phone is like sleeping with me like a lover. And I'll wake up and I'll read it and I'll be like, ooh, that's an interesting thing that the internet has to say. So I'm like, what if I just put my phone on like the opposite end of the room, right? Like I couldn't put it in a different room because like I only have one room, right? I'm not made of money. I'm like, what if I put it on the other side of the room as I sleep so that I have to get up to get it? And what if during the workday I just like put it in a drawer or something? But then what happened the second week is I'm like, okay, there's this thing that happens in the morning where I'm just like a super unagreeable human being, especially with myself, right? And so I would wake up and I'd be like, who cares what challenge I set for myself? Like, I'm cold, I'm tired, I want to bring this back into bed and I want to read. And so I would do that. That's when I kind of came to terms with the fact that I might have to disable Chrome. On my phone. I had to take the internet off my phone. And I think I actually have like a video clip of me contemplating this. So I just watched how I broke my phone addiction, the distraction-free phone. I think I gotta do it. I think the only way to fix my phone addiction is to delete all the apps that are not just tools. I can't even tell you how sick that makes me feel. Oh god, the fear is so real. I shouldn't be scared of this. The deleting Chrome, oh my god. I'll just say one thing. It worked. But it's crazy because life becomes quite the inconvenience when you take Chrome off your phone. Especially during COVID because like all the menus are just QR codes at restaurants now. I also took Bumble BFF off my phone and the final like thing in the chest is I took Hinge off my phone. That one I still haven't decided whether or not it should stay or go because it does enable like physical contact out in the real world, but it's like I would just go to it every time I was lonely, and it kind of is one of those apps that makes you feel more lonely as you're using it, like swiping through people, seeing whether or not you want to date them. And I'm not sure that that's the way I want to live my life. I think I'd rather meet people in the real world who like introduce me to their friends with similar values and they introduce me to their friends with similar values. But that's been the really hard part of all of this is that I'm doing this during COVID, right? So I don't know if it's a good or smart idea for me to take away all these distractions during a time when like I don't have the kind of human contact that people would normally have. It reminds you of your own loneliness a lot. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe I'll be like totally focused on it for the next 4 or 5 months and then I'll emerge from the corona cocoon as like a full-blown, you know, boisterous butterfly, but who knows? Time will tell, I guess. So it turns out at the beginning of doing this like 1-year detox, I was on my phone about 7 to 9 hours a day. And now I'm on my phone about 1.5 to 4 hours a day. And it's interesting because the apps I use now are very much like the integral communication or tools like apps, as opposed to the apps that are just made to suck you in. So I mostly use now like texting, phone, my notepad to write my YouTube scripts, and then I also watch Masterclass. Gotta have a little indulgence. Also, I've turned my phone to grayscale, cause it's boring. Ugh, can't show you that for too long, otherwise you'll leave the video. It's been really hard. Like, I've spent 6 concentrated weeks focusing on this, but really, I'm pretty sure all my time spent on my phone has just transferred over to time I now spend on the computer. And so even though I've kind of solved the phone problem, I'm gonna need to tackle the computer problem now. Because I'd be lying if I told you I didn't spend 6 hours on my computer today. Like, and I did watch YouTube videos, I'm gonna be honest. But the difference is that now I use a Chrome blocker on my computer, so it can't suggest me new videos. And I also use a Facebook Chrome extension blocker so that it can't show me the Facebook newsfeed. I've really been amazed at just how much of a marathon it's been to learn how to untangle the good parts of technology from the bad parts, right? But it's interesting, every single week I feel a little bit lighter. For example, even though I spent a lot of time on my computer today, it was all on one very concentrated subject, right? And in real life, like instead of going to the gym and being in my headphones, I went on to Craigslist. I found a person to be my gym buddy, and now I have a person I go to the gym with every other day, you know. And same thing with bouldering, right? Like now I have a bouldering buddy, right? And it's not anything crazy, like I'm not going out and doing too much human contact because it's COVID times, but like I did meet a couple of friends in the city since coming back, and like now I have a group that recommends things to me as opposed to my social media. And one of the things they recommended for me actually was this movie called The Social Dilemma, which if you haven't seen it, like, oh my God, go watch it, right? It just further convinced me that taking social media off my phone and limiting my exposure to it on my computer is one of the best things I could have done for myself. These algorithms are coded by some of the brightest minds in the States to just capture our attention. They're so good at making us do this. But that's, yeah, basically why I'm trying to decrease my screen addiction and why I'm trying to figure out what part of my screen are tools and what part of my screen are just like mindless time sucks. And I think that's the real problem with this goal I set for myself, is I didn't really know how to define it in the beginning, and I still don't. What should be my goal? How do I know when I'm not addicted to my screens? How will I know? And I haven't come up with a good definition for that yet. So if you guys like have a way of defining it, like please drop it in the comments, because I'd love to like crowdsource this answer. Because it's obviously not just getting your screen time to 0, otherwise you'd be opting out of like society. Yeah, but I don't know, am I still addicted if I spend 7-8 hours of my life on there per day? I don't know. Yeah, so drop your thoughts to that down in the comments below, and if you'd like to drop some money into my bank account, then feel free to donate to my Patreon. Or if you'd like to drop the ball and stay on the technology platform, then feel free to drop into my other videos. Peace.